beautiful lights, the busy roads. We are back, ladies and gentlemen, for our final game of the day. It is going to be game 3 of RNG versus JDG. RNG able to tie it up after a long drag down 1-3-1 setup. I'm a play-by-play man. I came to the LPL, not the LCK, you know? I'm not built for that.
Well, they actually could have played it faster, and I was kind of surprised that JD Gaming didn't actually try to do a full initiation. They were on the back foot the entire time, and because of that, there were actually only 2 team fights the entire game.
But let's be positive, of course. Of course, you know, like, as I put on a massive Irish accent there for a second for the word Karsa. And, of course, you know, speaking of Karsa was our MVP for the last game.
That game was we saw a very evenly distributed jungle resources across all 3 lanes. He prevented the bottom lane from getting disrupted and chipping down that tower. He got the first blood as well. And also the Jarvan pick, his AoE initiation was very much needed throughout that fight. And this is just going to be the highlight clip of Xiahu getting the drive-by.
This was sick. Just such a, like, you know, it looked like it was going to be JDG coming out a little bit more in favor, and then Xiahu like, picks up this absolutely insane. I'm telling you, this is going to be in the Penta this week, 100%. This was just absolutely insane as he comes in and just lands it, and then straight away just kind of jumps in back in. It's so good. Looks like she has a big mustache. Doesn't it, with her hood?
I was kind of confused for a moment right there. No?
She's now becoming Santa Claus. And of course, the final fight, not much else you can really do here if you're on the side of JD Gaming. You have no healing reduction. You have no way of really kind of putting down the damage. You tried your best, but overall, RNG were just too far ahead. And again, we got to be positive about RNG as well, because you know, that's the kind of game that they never looked out of control. There was never a moment in it. Yes, they could have played it faster. Yes, they could have done a lot of different things to accelerate the game. But if you do that again, and it's 100% guaranteed you win, you take that every time.
RNG were clearly, in the way I view it, we're trying to go for a flawless game. A game where they did not make any mistakes whatsoever and just kind of practice their fundamentals. The series win or loss doesn't actually impact their seeding anymore. They are locked into the 3rd place. So, you know, it is a good time to get your, you know, get your groove on and just make sure you can play throughout the competitions. However, on the other side, we have some exciting news for JD Gaming.
Yeah, we got some substitutions coming in. Morgan in the top side that we replaced. We saw some great things, very highly rated, excuse me. I know Raz is very, you know, high on that hype train, and I'd like to see him come in a little bit more as well, kind of towards the gauntlet potentially for JD Gaming as well.
A lot of people are asking, why would you ever swap out Zoom on JD Gaming? Well, it really is about the top and jungle duo rather than the individual player itself. These guys demonstrated far better synergy than we've seen on JD Gaming pretty much ever in their series against OMG. They combined had a 22 KDA, and in game 1, they were already up 9 kills before 15 minutes. So this this jungle and top laner, they played on the same team. They got promoted together into the main team. So they're very comfortable with each other. Both of them can communicate freely. There isn't any language barriers whatsoever. And individually, they're actually quite good, you know, just quite good mechanical players, especially Morgan has been putting up a show even against the likes of Karsa.
Yeah, 100%. Now, obviously, this will probably be one of his bigger tests against Langx. And as you said, the duo jungle top kind of synergy should be there. Karsa, our man of the match last time, had a great game 1, had a pretty decent game 2 as well. And it would be up to him to kind of disrupt that synergy and kind of, you know, put a damper on all the hype around this Morgan guy.
What I really want to see is Karsa fight fire with fire and just play the 2v2 against the 2v2. Go crazy, just go like, Renekton Elise, I'm diving you. You know,
I won't get your hopes up.
It's probably not going to happen.
RNG do not play towards top side. I'm very sorry.
I understand.
Whoa,
but
that's a lot of cups.
Dude, if I had to carry my team like I did in game 1, you know, I need that amount of caffeine in my system.
Well, it could be water, but it's just in general a lot of cups to be having in the front of it. And of course, RNG, like we said, only playing for kind of the record, if you like, you know, to kind of say that they kind of hit X amount of wins and stuff like that. It doesn't really affect their standings at all. Of course, JD Gaming waiting to see if they still are available for Gauntlet at the end of the season in a couple of weeks. But you know, like you said, it's good to see the kind of, this will be the last outing for JD Gaming to see how strong of a team they are if they do end up going into those gauntlets.
And it's a very good question if they're going to run Xiaohan and Morgan in the gauntlet, or are they going to stick with Kanavi or Flawless plus Zoom in the top side, because to be absolutely honest, even Zoom himself, even in his individual performance, we felt has taken quite a large dive in this split alone. We've seen a big decrease in his stats across the board, especially his early game stats are no longer there, to be honest. He used to be second place just behind the Shy. But now if you take a look in between, you've got Natural, you've got Gimp up there, and just the synergy between him and the jungler just did not exist whatsoever this split. So,
and of course, Flawless wasn't even in those first 2 games at all. Like, we haven't actually seen him. This is the 3rd jungle substitution effectively for the side of JD Gaming. So still a lot of question marks over about, you know, where this team actually sits in terms of a power rankings.
Yeah, and you know, I think Flawless is just a guy that kind of missed a patch. Flawless is a guy that if Lee Sin's like the tier A pick, then he's a great jungler. And I believe further on I saw in the PvE that they're doing actually quite a big, massive buff to Nocturne. And that was one of his champions, but unfortunately right now on the patch and into the gauntlets, I'm pretty sure we're going to stick on 9.15 for a while. So probably not going to see Flawless coming back in.
And of course, we're not going to see JD Gaming for a while either. You know, he's going to be closer towards the 3/4 week mark once that regional gauntlet kind of gets announced as such. And we'll have to wait and see exactly how JD Gaming want to take this particular matchup, but I'm excited to see how Morgan, you know, kind of sets himself up.
Yeah, definitely. I think they're going to go for super aggressive matchups. These 2 guys, they are very much a unit. They almost remind me of a duo lane bot because they're constantly just ganking topside and getting kills there. And it really does revitalize a lot of the members on the team. I feel like Yagao actually plays better in that setup because he knows which strong side to lean towards in lane. It's just, oh, I just go to the right side of the lane.
Yeah, it's just like if I'm go up, and then go up. That's all I gotta do right now. I don't have much. It's not very complicated. And of course, against a team like RNG that we see struggle to kind of figure out what they want their top laner to be in a lot of, you know, instances, that this is the kind of game that maybe Morgan could actually, you know, etch a name for himself. You know, 2020 is very much on the horizon for these guys, and you know, like for JD Gaming, it's about obviously keeping all their talent together, but you can unfortunately have Zoom and Morgan as starting top laners. Unfortunately, one of them's going to basically go, okay, I'm not the starting top laner, I'm going to move to a different team. And it's kind of up for Morgan and Zoom to kind of push their case for that side.
My theory would be for them to try to groom Xiaohan up to be the starting jungler, because if you look at all their options right now, Kanavi, Flawless, they're all Korean junglers. And I think, you know, a lot of teams have a lot of emphasis on language right now, but even then, there's still some barriers that are kind of hard to cross over towards. So I believe that would be the goal for the future. And Morgan is like, you know what? It's never too bad to have a good player on your roster. Sell him, leave, keep him there. It's all beneficial.
And we see RNG banning away the Gragas here as the last ban. Going to be keeping that away from JDG, which they have played the last 2 games in a row. Tam Kench would seem to be a pretty pivotal pick there for Ming as well. We actually see a lot of bot lane focus, so a lot of things open and available right now. The Yuumi, the Karma, oh shit, the Yuumi has been banned, but the Karma, the Aurelia, the Akali, the Aatrox, you know, you've got quite a few flex picks available here for RNG.
RNG have been the ones to just pick up the Karma in situations like these. Definitely a high priority on their team. So when they're going to go for this one, or are they going to use that last game of the split to go for something new? Guess not.
The answer, my friend, is no. But last game of the regular split, of course, they still have got playoffs. They are still 3rd in the standings, so no real loss there. They can still work towards kind of perfecting the Karma setup. Of course, it didn't quite work out for them in game 1. They want to probably make amends for game 1. The game 1 mistakes, if you like, as we see that Imp going to go back onto that Lucian. Had a fantastic game 1 on that as well. So we could potentially see a rerun of how game 1 went pretty much from both sides.
Yeah, definitely possible here. I really want to see what Xiaohan picks out as his last pick. I think that's the most likely setup for JD Gaming. Again, Xiaohan and Morgan being promoted together. Very heavy emphasis on just lane ganks into the top side. We're going to see the not the flawless. That's his best win rate champion, but it's not the flaws. The Jarvan selected right here. And for RNG, it seems like a mid-jungle focused game once more. Karma, Olaf is one of their best compositions. Always has lane priority. You can always try to look for kills against the Jarvan in his own territory.
Yeah, I'm gonna lock that one in. Of course, Jarvan's ultimate, naturally a soft counter to the side of the Ragnarocking Olaf. Doesn't, you know, can't anti-CC or cleanse terrain, unfortunately. And looks like the side of JDG gonna go back towards that Zoe, excuse me, onto the mid lane. So I like this from the side of JDG, just kind of saying, you know what, it went really damn well in the first game. Didn't pick it up in the second game, wasn't banned either in the second game, but we are going to pick it up here. And actually, they're going to ban away the Volibear from the side of RNG.
So just taking away the Volibear plus Karsa combo, that's been gaining a lot of popularity recently. Again, you can get 2 stacks just with the Terrify and the Flip Back. So it works very similar to the way Nautilus plus Karsa compositions worked in the bot side.
This is 6 support bans, effectively. Kragus, Yuumi, Alistar, Volibear, Nautilus, and Tahm all taken off the board. And if you're on the side of JDG, you have a pretty decent setup because you get first pick off of the back end of this. I would imagine they will look to ban possibly a Braum or a Rakan, maybe. Actually, the Thresh going to be banned now. That is very interesting.
Actually, I haven't seen the Thresh from Ming in a while, so...
Is a 4 wins out of 5 picks, and I think it's just straight up. They knew it would counter the Leona. Get it out of here. We want to pick this one, and they go straight for that hard kill bot lane.
Yeah, this is what I love about JD Gaming and LvMao particularly, is that he definitely understands his support pool, and he still runs a lot of these old school kill lanes. You know, a lot of times people look at this lane and go like, well, if you don't get the kills in lane, you fall behind. It feels really, really bad. But LvMao is willing to venture onto these picks and be a great roamer with it. And RNG, they're going back to some old school champions as well. The Morgana, a very good counter into the Karsa, even into the Leona, even after the nerfs. Sure, the Leona can actually get 2 engages in that cooldown. But, you know, you can actually block out on the first one. Leona comes in, she's going to lose a large part of her HP. And once again, it seems like we're going to see the Camille versus Aatrox matchup at the top.
This time, though, it is going to be Morgan. If he does lock that one in, it is locked and loaded for JDG. But I like the style. I want to make a quick point there. 8 support bans overall out of 10. You can see how much, you know, priority these sides have on the support picks. And they say, like, you know, all right, well, these guys are the main reasons why we win or lose. So, and not a single one of them was Rakan. I know he's not exactly the same as he was, but definitely interesting to see that. But I'm excited to see Morgan into this Camille Aatrox matchup. We watched a couple of his LDL games. Actually, specifically was Raz who showed me just the constant being, you know, his knowledge of this particular matchup. He actually showed me just a couple of games of the Aatrox into Camille. It was Morgan on the Aatrox, and just played it so damn well. I'm curious to see what the flip side of that matchup will be for Morgan and just how he's going to kind of, like, you know, come into this particular stage.
Yeah, definitely a big emphasis on that top lane and potentially the future topside duo of JD Gaming come the Gauntlet run. And I watched those clips as well. He has a very good understanding of both sides of the matchup. He played the Aatrox last time, 5-0-4 against the likes of Karsa, so very strong start there. Yep. And also the Renekton, another pick that he favors. Both of them lane dominant, very easy to snowball kills out of. I think this is going to be a very good pressure test for Langx. Can he still employ essentially the same tactics that he did in Game 2, keep the lane in that position, even with a lot of jungle attention being thrown at him, forcing the tower dive and things of that nature. So I really want to see how RNG position their top lane duo against the likes of what JD Gaming have.
And of course, for RNG, it is just a statement of intent. You need to be able to show out your best work and, you know, show to everyone else in the LPL that you are a side to be reckoned with, and you need to make sure that that is the message that has been sent. Because if you show weakness right now, you will just fall. And we talked about how stacked those brackets are on both top and bot. But ladies and gentlemen, for the final time tonight, we are going to jump into Summoner's Rift for Game 3 of JDG versus RNG in the Battle of Beijing. And we'll look to see who can take bragging rights this year.
I see some bot lane cheese being formed up already.
Been spotted out straight away, so the Mantra Q being used there. And I like this from RNG. Didn't commit any wards, realized that they probably did have a sweeper. It is standard and customary pretty much at this stage to go with one person on your team with a sweeper to try and deny that early vision. But JDG Gaming, they do get exactly what they wanted. They got the wards down towards those entrances in the jungle, so they will know that Olaf is starting on this top side.
It's pretty dangerous for RNG. It's pretty clear to me that JD Gaming are looking for a potential just kill, early kill into the bot side. They're already boxing out Olaf, setting up the vertical jungle well. And with a Leona lane, it's so damn easy to find early kills. The amount of damage she does, Ignite going down, plus the press the attack is very difficult to deal with.
You get the early level 2, and I actually like the pathing here from Xiaohan. He's able to void the ward that was popped into that tri-bush. So the side of RNG, not quite sure exactly where he is. They will spot him out now, and immediately the level 2 gank on him will certainly going to come in here. See what they're able to do. Uzi does not get caught out. Nice sidestep, nice black shield as well from Ming. Took that level 1. Good awareness from the RNG bot lane to realize that was almost certainly going to happen.
Yep, 300 HP being burned there still, however, and I would still count that as successful in adding pressure towards the bot side. It's been a while since we've seen the Morgana, so just taking a look at the runes, we do have the Nimbus Cloak there, so it's going to be able to run faster even after the tethers. And Langx once again up to the same tricks. It really does favor keeping the lane in this position if possible at all times.
Olaf is behind Morgan, so should be aware that the vertical jungling has been implemented, unless really fancies his chances against this Aatrox Olaf 2v1. It's just pushing it in. We can see the pings going down as well, and it looks like the side of Karsa is going to try and make his way towards this top side. There's the pings now. He knows the ward has been spotted him out. Morgan may be forced to flash, loses a summoner. A little bit of disrespect there from the young man. Definitely did not give the due diligence to be able to say that this Olaf could well be behind me.
Yeah, he was pretty aware of the fact, but I think that Langx just won over the lane priority trade. However, I like how willing he was to just use the flash, because they do have a strong 3-3 versus 2-2 scenario in the bot side.
Oh, the flash was after the Zenith Blade had already come in. The TP was cancelled as well by a hook shot onto the top side, and now Uzi, he's in a lot of trouble. He's going to try and turn this back with an Nicanthian Rain. Oh. He actually may be able to do it. Will keep himself alive. Trades 1 for 1. Nicely played by the bot laner.
Yeah, very well done. So it actually equalizes out, and this is typically a huge point in the LPL. You see a lot of teams do this. It's very easy to memorize. Your jungler takes 4 camps, hit level 3, and then you do 3 level 3s against 2 level 2s. Very difficult to get out of, and that was actually a massive outplay to stop that from snowballing out of control.
Very, very nicely done. It's always an interesting kind of concept whether or not you should stop the dive or the TP going out, because obviously if that TP does go through the Aatrox down bot lane, you just get a free lane up top side. And I'm always curious to see that, you know, the kind of the toing and froing in people's mental to kind of say, like, should I go back? Should I let them go?
You 100% stop it there.
I don't know. It's just an interesting setup as such, just the way things kind of went down.
Yeah, in that scenario where there's a potential to get a double kill on the bot side, deny that mini wave. And, you know, if you're stopping the teleport, you're still essentially canceling out. So
we are going to see the Black Shield used as Jarvan is here as well. They are going to get the stun down eventually. Good flag and drag, and they are just bullying this Morgana. I'm liking this Leona pick so far. Yeah,
and JD Gaming are really running some strong mental games against RNG. We talked about Xiaohan and Morgan being very topside focused, but you don't expect them to run this duo together and then just go, you know what, vertical jungle. We're tearing you guys apart.
We're going to go after the one thing you love and hold closest to you, Uzi. Or more specifically, the person Uzi has to let die so he doesn't die. Prove me wrong.
Ming is known as the great support because of that reason. He will flash in front of a Crystal Enchanted Arrow just to keep Uzi there.
As we see now, Ming is back here with Uzi. Karsa sitting a long time in this bot side and actually wastes a fair bit of time. And now we see the junglers trading places as such. There's going to be Xiaohan up on this top side now, potentially looking to see if he can do something against this Aatrox. However, there is a flash advantage there for the Aatrox.
And we have to note that that was absolutely necessary for Karsa to be there. He's trying to reset the wave without knowing where the enemy jungler actually is. So has to escort Ming into that river, get the control ward down, and then after that he's free to leave.
I like this aggression here from Xiaohan. He's able to put down the pink wards as well alongside Yagao in that mid lane, so able to kind of put in as much as he can, and immediately see an aggressive move in here from Morgan, and definitely feels like a lot stronger matchup in the hands of Morgan than it was in the hands of Zoom.
And you can see a CS lead there developing already, and this is under the threat of an early vertical jungle as well.
Could be a dive. We do see the blue buff being stolen here. It's going to be traded off, like you said. So again, just swapping around, JDG realizing that their priority in bot side is going to be short-lived as the levels start to stack up for the Kai'Sa and the Morgana. They know that the Olaf is going to stick around towards that bot side as well. And whether or not they want to go for anything is kind of up to the junglers right now. No one can really make anything happen. It's very even across the board. Yagao, very low on mana, but just wants to try and give himself as much as an easy back as he possibly can. Has not got his TP available to him, but Cloud Drake going to be the spoils going over to the side of RNG as they do have priority in that bot side.
And this lane's not diveable even with mid-jungle priority. Very difficult to do against LvMao and Leona. And this is something that's quite important with tank supports. I feel like if you present enough threat in the dive, a lot of times you can just get away with overloading other parts of the map. And I feel like this is what JD Gaming has been doing so far. It's just, we know there's 4 people in the vicinity, but you're not going to dive a Leona whatsoever. You're going to be safe here. And Xiaohan had a very good read on where Karsa was. Like, if you notice where Xiaohan was on the top side, they didn't actually spot Karsa out whatsoever. They just were able to tell Karsa was in the bot just by like how the bot lane was warding, how they were walking up to their river, so on and so forth. So I'm very impressed with the play so far in JD Gaming, and they're coming out with a good lead.
Oh, hook shot going to be used. Morgan has got flash, almost certainly going to have to expend it here. As soon as it was off cooldown, he had to use it. Good, you know, kind of punish, if you like, from Karsa being in the right place at the right time.
But he does go up there, finds that there's nothing for him to take, actually. And it was not a terribly efficient gank in the top side. Just a very interesting one that he's willing to kind of do those, you know, out of steps, very unpredictable lane ganks like that. That's so hard, actually, to predict.
We're going to see now a bit of an invade here coming from JDG of half health, even more, 3/4 of Ming's health being taken down straight away. And already you're seeing the power that this Zoe has if she's able to get into that fog of war and you don't expect that pure burst coming in.
Yeah, and the fact here is that, you know, you do have LvMao leaving the lane and just roaming earlier and setting up the vision earlier than RNG can kind of counter back with. And it's always the fact that JD Gaming with this type of CC chain and Zoe, as long as they have the first foot in, it doesn't matter if they're even sometimes behind in numbers, they will find the kill and just sneak out. So it's so dangerous to allow them to do that, and you do see LvMao do this very frequently. He is a bit of a gambler. He will lose a couple CS in lane just to set up that potential kill.
You gotta know when to hold them and know when to fold them. As you see now, JDG just kind of setting up a little bit of a good ward, actually, you're going to say, is going to be caught out by Ming. So going to delay this Olaf rotation in for a little bit. But you can feel with the fact that, generally speaking, if someone does end up warding or sweeping that bush, it means they are setting up for someone to kind of come in behind it.
I guarantee you, JD Gaming, whenever they see this lane from Uzi and Ming just pushing up, they kind of expect something.
Oh, they now know that Karsa's there. They are going to put down the culling and the actually flash engage. They're going to use the solar flare, but completely misses. They're going to go golden there onto LvMao, who gets taken out by Xiahu on the back end of this. And Karsa, he's an early game Olaf. You got to be so damn careful as I say that, though. Good dark binding on the back end of this. Everyone's expending their stopwatches as soon as they get them at the 10-minute mark. And Karsa is now trying to just turn this one back. Flashes away. Ignite is burning. He will go down. It's now just the mid laners here in the mid lane. There is a flash available for Yagao as he knows that he's going to have to try and get away from this.
So many summoners.
Oh, so much damage, so much utility. Flash in, one more attack, and the paddle star. Yagao repays the favor.
4v4 in the bot lane, and finally Yagao comes in and just finishes off that kill. Zoe feels so damn unfair when those skirmishes happen and everyone needs to expend because she's such a good finisher in those situations. Honestly, JD Gaming, the way they started that fight, I didn't think it would end up well for them whatsoever. The initial try to burst kill on Uzi didn't really work out. Uzi was still I think it was actually on Karsa, but it didn't really work out. And, you know, they expended a lot of movement abilities just to close in on that situation. Good thing that Yagao was on the roam and on point in that last skirmish.
As well as that, of course, you know, it is still it was very close in terms of an exchange as well. It was a 4-for-3 in favor of JDG. Of course, 2 kills going over to the Zoe is pretty damn huge as well. So Leona still very tanky. You got to be very careful about when you start that fight against her. You see, the Rift Herald is now the point of contention for both these sides. RNG would love to have this to try and get this mid to early game kind of comp that they have for them, you know, going a little bit faster because they're kind of falling by the wayside. 2,000 gold behind. They have got Xiaohan up towards his top side. He hasn't been spotted just yet. Now they know he's there. He's going to be in position to try and fight for this Leona and the Camille, as well as the Lucian rotating in on top of this. This could be a 5v5. Are they going to be able to take this? They don't want to just commit to it just yet. There we go. They're going to jump straight in. There's the Black Shield used, but the good Solar Flare is going to catch out Ming. They are going to try and finish this one off, and it's JDG who take the Rift Herald and get the hell out of Dodge.
RNG were actually on site first and set up with more vision, but they didn't expect JD Gaming to be flooding in from so many different angles, and the retreat path they had, or the path that they had to get into River, was very easily blocked off by LvMao. So they just kind of turned tails and cut their losses on that one, but JD Gaming come out massively ahead.
And they get themselves 3 turret plates as well as a blue buff steel on that top side. They kind of have to give up this first tower. They are not in a position to be able to rotate for it either. So overall, JD Gaming just feeling much more confident coming into this kind of mid-game and just taking all the spoils of war. They'll give up another Cloud Drake, but they don't honestly care.
No, they do not. And it does seem like a macros mistake from RNG because JD Gaming actually were on the same page about the lane swap. Their bottom lane was there as well, and they did have their own wards in the river. So RNG felt like they tried to push a bit too hard on the Herald, and it just backfired on them.
They will not be able to trade all plates, unfortunately, for the side of RNG. Will not even be able to trade a turret just yet. So far, that's a 3,000 gold lead in favor of JDG as they just take a much stronger mid-game against this RNG side. And right now, RNG, this is very reminiscent of the first game as we get, again, where, like, you know, just feels like JDG just seem to have a much better grasp on what they should and shouldn't be doing.
Yeah, they're finishing out the fight strong. They're matching all the macro moves across the board. And JD Gaming find themselves in a very unenviable position where they have a long lane that they have to, you know, walk up towards. They don't control that side of the river whatsoever. And you have Leona roaming across the map already. So there's a lot of factors that seem very similar to the game run you were talking about.
And overall, JDG going to be pretty damn happy. They've nearly got the Essence Reaver finished up second there for their Lucian. Imp going to be feeling pretty damn strong for that. They've got themselves a CS lead and kill lead in the mid lane. Nearly 1,000 gold in turret plates being gifted over to the Lucian. So you can see the huge differential in terms of him and Uzi. To say that though, Xiahu needs to be careful, as there is a Xiaohan and Yagao just fishing out, trying to see if they can find anything for him there.
Yeah, and you can see this is this play was made because Langx has nothing to do in the top side. He can't go beyond the river. Just needs to find something to do. Easiest way is to go mid. Doesn't get anything, and off of that, Morgan will have his turn to start roaming around.
Xiahu gonna actually catch out Yagao. Karsa gonna get slowed up here by a red buff. They are kind of trading a little bit. Flash burnt there by Yagao. EQ combo still available. The Dark Binding was coming off the backside of that, so Xiaohan very wise to keep that in his back pocket. Now they had a little bit of a tempo advantage in favor of RNG. No Dragon for another 3 minutes, so no real objective to kind of capitalize on that, but just posturing for pressure, for vision control, and you can see they've kind of snuck themselves in to this bot side, but ping's already going out. They know that something's amiss.
Yeah, they're taking the safe route around, and I love what JD Gaming are doing with their positioning. They understand where the mini wave is pushing in, and just perfect cutoff.
I love the
to
respect
RNG.
from Uzi right there. Literally went the longest possible route because he just did not have vision. But it's that level of kind of awareness that kind of, can be the difference between giving over 400 free gold to the enemy and, just being able to pick up a wave.
This is a very different series from most of the games we see in the LPL.
Yes.
Very controlled.
Very LCK-like. Very reserved.
Small moves happening here and there, and JD Gaming off to another 3K lead once more. I think what RNG are trying to do to solve essentially what is a top lane problem is just to make sure that they can trade back onto this bot lane tower. And this time around, they will be JD Gaming off on it.
They will be able to pick up this turret, so finally equalizing that disadvantage that they had occurred earlier on. Will be able to pick that one up, and I like the Stormrazor's Edge choice there from Uzi. It just means that he has a little bit more mid-game power to deal with this Lucian and kind of go toe-to-toe with him if he needs it. I like the way Kai'Sa, similar to Ezreal, has a lot of variations on the build, and you can see different things depending on how they feel the game is going to go.
Kai'Sa will always be in the meta because she can use whatever OP item there is.
Kai'Sa and her design is very much tailored to being able to just kind of pick up whatever the hell's good. Be it Triforce, be it Tyr, be it Lutens, be it, whatever it may be. Guinzos. A lot of opportunities, a lot of potential setups that you can go with. And I don't know, I quite like that. Quite like, having a diverse way of building something similar to the AP Ezreal, which is sadly going to be nerfed away from us in 9.16. Makes me a sad boy. We're back to kind of a stalemate. 30 seconds to this Mountain Dragon. You would imagine that both sides would like it. As I say that though, Ming gonna have to use his Black Shield fairly early. And the Redemption as well. So, actually it was a Redemption here from Yagao. Yeah. So now that I look at it, it was actually just an offensive tool being able to use. But good little placement there of the Honey Fruit means that they're able to heal up and keep themselves relevant for this ensuing dragon fight. You can see both top laners hovering around. Both will have TP available for when this objective spawns.
In RNG, the way they want to start this is they really need a pick. They cannot go in 5v5 and expect Yagao to not interfere with that break. So once they run out of control wards to actually create a dark zone, you can see them instantly backing off. They're like, you know what, it's just not going to work here. We might be the ones that have to wait for JD Gaming to start this break ourselves and see if the Drake can do enough work for us, where we can kind of get like a...
Looks like the call is just give up, because unfortunately for the side of RNG, Karsa got chunked to about half HP just as it was about to spawn. The power of Zoe towards these small corridors with the different terrains she's able to utilize as well. Does mean though, however, they will get a bit of free time in towards this top side. Should be able to take down this turret as well, but it will be traded in the bot side by Camille.
And this is the correct way to play it out sometimes. If you're already beat on the location, then just try to take everything you can away elsewhere on the map. It's quite refreshing to see Langx just pushing it in like this. Really reminds me of his tuning days.
Oh, Ming.
Good find.
Does not get the sleep to hit, but does get the damage, which is kind of the most important thing as of this moment in time. And Yagao, with this blue buff, can just keep spamming out abilities. Just keep looking, keep fishing for any kind of advantage. Top lane, though, is pushing straight up onto that tier 2. Side of RNG do have control on that red side jungle as well. However, Camille now going to answer that with her own push in that bot side. Dark Binding lands, but so does the Trouble Bubble. It's going to be eaten up by the Dark Binding, but the Black Shield, I should say. And the Black Shield being down is an instant go sign. Teleport committed here from the side of JDG.
A pretty good target focus coming out from JD Gaming. RNG actually had the first fight in that one, but JD Gaming threw everything into Xiahu's way for both summoners. And they regained control of the fight after that one. So really intense skirmish going on, and very good eye for who to go on to for JD Gaming.
You see JD Gaming want to try and get this turret. They have got the advantage right now, but Hellfires are returning to the side of RNG, as well as Mana Bars, so they should be able to defend this one fairly easily. Flash that was held onto by Yagao going to be used. Hookshot over the wall there from Morgan as well. And RNG now feeling like they're the ones in control. They're the ones with the tempo advantage in these small little skirmishes as Karsa steals himself away a Raptor camp. And now it's RNG's turn to start the siege.
and they knew the JD Gaming members likely had to back after that one, and they did have the ultimate advantage. Cataclysm still not up, so RNG are willing to push quite hard after that one. Good counterbalance, but nothing much actually happening out of it.
Bit of chip damage either side of the turrets. Nothing really incredible going to be going down. Ocean Dragon going to be up in about 2.5 minutes. Baron buff is on the field. But RNG, with these particular builds, with these particular champions, they're kind of reliant on this Aatrox is starting to get going. And it worked out last time, but I feel like Morgan's a completely different beast on this Camille.
Definitely being able to stand up toe-to-toe. However, RNG, with the rotation they did for the, giving up the Mountain Drake, actually did find quite a sizable lead onto Langx, and currently I'm not sure that Morgan will be able to split push against him. Taking a look at it, Langx is going to go for the Electrocute build. So the later it goes, it will be more favorable in Morgan's camp.
See, trying to just push in, trying to catch anybody they can. Blade of the Rune King active there to try and get a slow, but a good black shield there from Ming, who's been on point for himself and his team so far this game. So far this series, to be perfectly honest, had a great series. You can see Yagao just fishing for any kind of poke. They know that there is a teleport on Langx, so they know they can't really force anything crazy right now. The Camille is going to join them in the mid lane as well. As they are moving up in that mini-map as well, is without a teleport, so global advantage available to the side of RNG. Both sides really want to try take down this mid turret before they go for any big objective fight.
Once again, we're seeing JD Gaming with their poke advantage starting to take over River when they're not. Oh. Xiahu found without flash. Good body block by Karsa.
Whoa! Killer Instinct, but that's going to be answered by the Cataclysm as the EQ comes in from Xiaohan to get himself out of there. But the good Solar Flare straight onto the Aatrox to stop him up, but it's not going to be enough. Ming finds himself a kill. Good sidesteps there from the JDG bot lane, but overall, it's the jungler going down and RNG looking for mid.
Yeah, RNG get the teleport advantage coming in from bot side. Langx cuts the enemy team off from the ramp, and they started what looked like a bad scenario with Xiahu being caught and turned around. It's a very good decision-making coming in from Uzi, just knowing that he could push that one with his top laner.
Did commit the TP to it, of course, as Langx was there, but overall still have the Karma TP if they need to go deal with a side lane that JDG want to push in. But overall, just like I said, good decisiveness from the side of RNG.
Yeah, Xiahu was the one target that they really wanted to find. Everyone else has some sort of stealth or CC, crowd control, get out of jail free card. Good on Xiaohan. This is a pretty sweet play from him. Jungle sacrificing himself for the betterment of the team and keeping that 150 gold bounty alive on Yagao.
I do love the gusto, if you like, from Uzi just to go, oh, I landed my W, instantly Killer Instinct, I'm going to try and kill you right now, which just kind of forced a lot of different summoners to be used. Ocean Drake has spawned, and you can see Imp did take a bit of a chunk. He's going to try and heal off of this Scuttle to try and get that one back. Has been taken away from him. The culling does come out, just kind of hit into the thin air side of RNG, just kind of trying to see if they can get some kind of a pick, as the Dragon has been started off here by the side of JD Gaming. Don't really know if they want to look for a full fight. Karsa is there, but he will not get the steals because the Xenoblade on the backside. Cataclysm comes in and Olaf straight away out of the fight along with the Leona. So the front lines being tested here as Imp and Yagao just trying to push this one forward. But Uzi and Ming get taken so low. Will they be able to find it? Imp gets himself out of here. It's Langx just putting down the damage. The Camille, though, is on the backside of this fight. They still got Yagao, but he does eventually go down. They're trying to get the kills. Not able to find it. Xiaohan has to run away alongside Imp. They will not be able to find the kills just yet. As I say that, though, the Dark Binding lands! And that's all they needed from the side of RNG. They will take the ace and lose 2.
Insane start of the fight there. I thought JD Gaming had the upper hand. They get Olaf down so early, and Uzi was actually late to the fight. His first instinct was to push out the mid lane. I didn't think that was a great idea for them because JD Gaming had very hard to engage on their team composition. They utilize that, they get the first kill, but in the ensuing trades, Langx just stayed alive way too long, able to clean up the entire fight. Look at the start of this. Uzi is still in the mid lane. JD Gaming with the absolute correct call here. We have strong engage. Just go in right now, try to find the kills. But unfortunately for them, actually Ming does get out alive, so the LvMao initiation, a lot of it was actually just wasted on the back line, unable to just clean up the kills cleanly there. And even though Morgan does find Uzi, just look at how healthy Langx still is in this fight. Wow.
Dark Binding and then the Comet. Or sorry, the Luden's Echo proc was what killed Yagao there.
Also, you could see Langx just get a 200 HP heal off of that in the middle of the team fight. Deathbringer stance, guys.
Yep, it is a pretty big Aatrox. Only picked up 1 kill overall, but we'll see now EQ and also the Cataclysm committed here onto Karsa. TP going to be used as well, but I don't know if you really want this decided from the side of JDG. They are going to come straight away, though, onto Ming, who has no way out. Once he got caught by the Zenith Blade and the Solar Flare, there was no escape. Good little move here from the side of RNG, but they are not done as they look to try and see if they can get for something else. It's going to be Leona traded back on top of them as there's no real summoners to commit away from this fight. JDG will end up trading support for support.
Damn, Langx means business in this one, just popping his ultimate right away and walking up the ramp. That's typically a very hard terrain to traverse, and going in on a 4v5. Knew his damage limits very, very well in that one.
RNG not willing to let one man go down without a return. Able to pick themselves up a return kill on top of that. Gold almost dead even as we come into this mid to late game. 27.5 minutes on the clock. 3 turrets to 2 in favor of RNG as we have a look at just how they just got caught really pretty much.
Yeah, good initiations onto Karsa, and you already see the Gargoyle Stone Plate being complete by Xiaohan. So this is just unfortunate timing from Ming. Get the Black Shield bursted down by Leona, an easy follow-up kill. And this was just an alpha move from Langx. Go straight up the ramp and kill someone. It's just...
Ooh, Xiahu gonna look for something here. Has got the Black Shield on top of him and the cleanse as well. So see the rampaging Olaf kind of jump in. Cataclysm on the backside. It's a fight on 2 fronts. Both junglers are trying to be the front line, but it looks like both junglers will be the first ones to fall. Killer Instinct on top of that means the Camille will go down, and the Aatrox is still hunting for blood. Aatrox being the big difference in these team fights. RNG could look to push up this mid lane.
It looks like if JD Gaming want to win these fights, the first one they need to burst down actually is Langx. They go on any other target, it seems to drag the fight too long. And in that one especially, I think Xiahu did a fantastic job of keeping himself absolutely alive. He took the Leona ultimate, he took the Zenith Blade, he was able to cleanse, and still held on to his flash throughout the entire thing.
Overall, 2 kills to 1 in favor of RNG in that last skirmish. They also pick up cells up tier 2 in the mid lane. Now the Baron becomes a very real prospect for both these sides. You're getting 3 items onto a lot of your carries. We'll see how this one started. It just kind of pretty much just like Xiahu walking up.
Yeah, Black Shield was massive right here. He doesn't get stunned by the ultimate. It takes another ability from LvMao. LvMao's already at half health. And Morgan used most of his DPS onto Xiahu as well. Like, Xiahu effectively took the punishment from 3 targets and wasted it away from JD Gaming.
We talked about 2-man Barons from JD Gaming. This looks like it's going to be a 2-man Baron for the side of RNG. They will know now that it's going down, so JD Gaming look to try and stop this. They will get the EQ in, but it's a little bit too early. He would have been stunned up for the fight of it if he hadn't gone in, though. There's no jungler available for the side of JDG. He was left between a rock and a hard place. He had to make a decision. He decided to go in, and unfortunately gives up his life in the Baron.
RNG with a lot of residual tempo lead after that replay, after that fight they just won. And it looks very similar now to game 2, where, you know, Langx is just kind of unstoppable. I almost think it might be a better idea if JD Gaming could lock him out on the sides, just like Hextech ultimatum Langx to lock him up and make sure he can't join it.
Yeah, just try and survive, and you see they can't even take up a Cloud Drake off the back of that because they just do not have the members available. They do need their jungler as well, so no smite means they are no way in hell getting that one. So triple Cloud's going to be a very, very fast team from the side of RNG. For some reason they give that to Ming. Because reasons.
Gold.
I think it's like 100 gold, isn't it? Or 50?
It's like 25.
Is it? The Rift Herald's worth 50.
Pretty good drinks are not worth that much.
I'm pretty sure it's got to be worth more than just like 25 gold. We'll look into that. We'll have a look later, ladies and gentlemen. But Of course, with Baron buff now available, and of course, those 3 Cloud Drakes, they got their Nikes on there, zooming around the map. And gotta say, Langx against Morgan. Morgan hasn't really had the impact he probably wanted to have in this particular matchup, but we see that Killer Instinct go straight in on Yagao, and Yagao is deleted off of the face of this map. There, the Cataclysm has been committed as well from Xiaohan.
That was a bit on the critical strikes.
Yeah, that was just a lot of damage so damn quickly, and now the side of JDG, they have no real wave clear.
JD Gaming have to give this one up. They can't stay here either. The initiation from Xiahu is going to follow up on this.
They've got Karsa, they've got Langx, they've got so many ways of getting on top of this. Ming as well, if he lands a Dark Binding. It looks like RNG, they're going to look for the end right here, right now. They've got the Baroned up minions. Good move there by Morgan to try and keep the cannons ones down, but they're actually going to jump straight on top of this. It's going to be JDG looking for a final fight. They do lose their jungler though straight away. They're trying to jump onto Imp. They lose their top laner as Morgan goes down. He has felt the taste of what RNG's team can do. They will lose Langx, but they have got 2 cannon minions and only 1 Nexus turret between them and a 2-1 victory. Steric's
Gage and Lifeline just keeping him alive for so damn long in that fight. Langx does fall, but so will JD Gaming pay the price for taking down the raid boss. That is the top laner of RNG. And it's good to see Langx with a bit more fight in the final game for RNG this split. You know, this guy joined the team. Biggest blockbuster trade of 2019, summer split. He filled roughly the same role as the top laners before him, and at the end of the split, it's quite warming to see him get in on a bit of action, a bit of top lane carry potential.
And putting Morgan down on his place, and a very warm welcome to the LPL, my friend. If we see you in Gauntlet, you know what the story is with that one. RNG will take their bow. They win the Battle of Beijing. Bit disappointed, of course, that it was not a 2-0 to keep their top 2 hopes alive, but overall, not a terrible series from RNG. Now they look towards playoffs.
Just going back into the game a little bit, RNG did have a rather large deficit at the start of it, but were able to win through on the team fights. Once they got Langx going, there wasn't enough of that burst damage from JD Gaming to lock him down. He was able to sustain through the fights quite well.
No healing reduction.
Nothing like that of the sort. And no, I think RNG, this is kind of their bread and butter team composition. Very protective on the bot side, hyper-scaling potential, and just Olaf and Xiaohu's Karma just holding down the fort in terms of mid-game priority. However, I will say that even though this is an RNG win, I'm not too happy about their prospects going into playoffs. That seems like a very dangerous thing, because JD Gaming were able to outmaneuver them multiple times through this series. I felt like their vertical jungle and the early ganks into the bot lane were actually very, very successful. They really forced Uzi onto the back foot. They controlled the map, and they didn't allow like the Olaf and Karma combo to just run amok like we so often see.
What I will say though, Uzi took the game into his hands and was just like, right, if no one on my team's going to initiate, I'm going to initiate. And it's very rare that we see a Killer Instinct used so offensively and so often in these team fights. He was just constantly jumping on Yagao because he just understood that if the trouble bubble is down, I kill him.
Yes, and I think the cool thing is how much he knew, he knew how good his team could actually protect him, because he could go in with a black shield on him, and he had the Karma buffs as well onto him. Ardent Sensor was there, and you know, just a lucky crit there. You can finish off any target you want. Really good decision making from Uzi overall, and I felt like he could feel the seething rage kind of just boiling underneath his RNG.
Yeah, he was getting annoyed. I think you could definitely feel the frustration where he's just like, we're no longer top 2, we're now in top 3, which means we have to play an extra best of 5 set. Very, very dangerous for RNG. We talked about it before, but we're going to reiterate it again. They have 10 championship points. Yes. This is the very big danger for the side, that if you don't win in your quarterfinal, you might just miss Worlds altogether. That quarterfinal, if you're in semis, you could probably still make it in with points. You're in a fairly decent position if you get 3rd place. But now that you have, you know, this very, you know, hard prospect of going up against an IG who look like they've kind of, well, it's been very early days, but they look like they've kind of sorted out the Ning issue. And I want to see what, you know, if IG go from strength to strength and just demolish Suning in the first round, you're sweating. Like, there's nothing else more to it. You got to find a game plan.
Yeah, and it really stings for RNG, you know, after having a great 2018 and then having a takeaway for IG, and then like just the narrative that would build. IG versus RNG has already been the most hotly discussed topic during the regular split. To see that continue so early on in the quarterfinals,
it's gonna be spicy. It's gonna be spicy.
So damn spicy.
I'm hoping it's IG versus RNG. I know that's a bit biased against Suning, and I'll put my hands up right now. Like,
to be
just
honest,
in terms
Suning
of
and
entertainment.
LNG could still, you know, Suning or LNG could still take it over IG. Definitely possible, but you know, just reading.
If I'm going off my own personal opinion, I want IG RNG. Like, who doesn't want IG RNG? Come on. But
True.
like you said, you know, difficult times ahead. I think RNG, they just kind of have to center themselves, figure out what works for them. Of course, working with Xiaohu most of the season with that Rumble picks and stuff like that was working fantastic for them. Maybe they go with the hot pot combo of Jarvan and Rumble, like, you know, with the Equalize and the Cataclysm. But right now, they're not looking the hottest, but I definitely would not count them out.
Yeah, I would agree with that assessment. It's just that through the later parts of the split, you don't actually see Karsa and Xiahu getting the same leads that they did earlier on. I feel like that mid-jungle priority, after, you know, Knight put them in their place, after Yagao this time kind of put them in their place, after Kuro was able to play so successfully just with the defensive posture in that series, you kind of wonder how RNG are able to do comeback fights. Because this entire split, they've mainly been crushing from ahead. They mainly just like, well, we're 15k ahead. Well, we'll just finish the game from there. And it seems like they're finding it a bit difficult to kind of do the team fight route from behind, and that's my biggest worry for RNG. Like, they're almost suffering off of their success in a sense. And after that series, I actually think JD Game is going to put up a very good performance at Gauntlet. I do not envy going up against
if they
JD
are in Gauntlet. Still
They're
not
most
100%. Most likely,
points.
it's like they have 70 points. It's like a very high percentage, but it is not confirmed.
Yes.
The world could flip over, FBX and IG could get knocked out super early, and all of a sudden there's more teams getting more points, and then they go into there's a lot of different situations to kind of take into consideration. However, just to come back onto, you know, the JD Gaming point as well, their season is effectively over until further notice, until they are told otherwise. What's the plan right now? Are they setting up for Gauntlet? Are they looking as if with the idea that we are in Gauntlet? What's the next step for them?
As long as there's a chance, they're going to be paying very, very close attention to playoffs. And what I really want to reiterate in Spring Split, in the final match that could have decided, that didn't decide their seeding, they actually ran with kind of compositions to test out what W were doing. Like, Coach Home admitted to that. There was like, you know, we just ran this and we just banned these 3 champions, see what other champion that they had. And I have to tell you, that game right there was very reminiscent to that Spring Split scenario where it's like, what is Ming's 7th support pick right here?
If we ban 8 things.
That is literally what they did. And in the playoffs against W, they did the same exact bans. W picked the same exact support, and Home was like,
Gonna quickly ask you, your MVP from that last game.
My MVP, I think it has to go to Longxing.
You are correct. It was Longxing, as he gets pick himself up another man of the match. MVP number 3, I should say, for him. I think, honestly, like, the fact that he went against the same matchup twice, just able to make this Aatrox pick look so damn good, and honestly, you know, deserves it, considering where RNG right now are with their top lane.
Yeah, his teamfight capabilities are still immense in these in these showcases right here. You can see him just going in and you know, cutting up the enemy team composition, forcing them back a lot of the times. And we have to remember that a lot of times Longxing is doing these types of plays without the resources of other top laners in the league. He's bottom, like 14th place in terms of the gold share overall, so he's not getting a lot of these resources. He's still performing in the team fights. And a very important thing to remember, that Longxing's role in terms of the draft phase, he does not get counter picks whatsoever. He's almost always just blind pick, throw it out there.
He's like the old school Dyrus pick for TSM, where it's just like, we're going to throw you to the wolves. Survive, and we're Gucci. And I think, you know, and like for RNG, it works, and then when it doesn't work, it really doesn't work. You know, when you, so like the thing I always kind of put into that kind of conversation is like when you're going up against the likes of Wonders of the world, the Shies, you know, these massive top lane carries that they don't care if they get counterpicked, they don't care what they pick, they're just so mechanically strong. That's where it starts to become an issue for RNG.
I think what we've seen throughout the split is a lot of times Langx is able to avoid disaster in the top lane purely because of his sensibilities, that when to back off, and a lot of his pure mechanical plays like the Renekton and Vladimir has been his 2 picks in the top side because they're very difficult champions to dive. Like that is literally his role. While I will say that Langx has done better than his predecessors.
We cannot take that away from him. Of course not. He has definitely done, he's better.
But he hasn't elevated RNG into...
Yes, the problem still persists, and I think that's the big issue that we kind of take issue with. Of course, you know, we'll get a lot of hate because obviously people are massive RNG fans for years, and of course, but like, you know, we look at it from more of a holistic point of view of like the entire team, and when we still see the same issues persist over and over and over a long period of time, that's when we, as also fans of RNG, get nervous.
Yeah, we really should get nervous in this situation. If you think about their side of the bracket, right ahead of them is Knight, and with their current setup, I don't think they get past Knight on this one.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see, but we do have another interview with RNG going to be translated beautifully again by yourself, Clement. So we're going to go straight to that.
采访，我是主持人西西。那首先恭喜 RNG 获得今天比赛的胜利。今天我们来到采访的嘉宾是来自 RNG 的 AD 选手 UZI。那小吴跟大家打个招呼吧。
Hello， 大家好，我是 UZI。
Hello everyone, I'm Uzi.
哇，现场观众真的非常热情。那接下来让我们和哈皮一起进入哈皮欢乐时光。首先想问一下小狗，其实今天也是一个让1追2嘛，但在拿下今天比赛的胜利之后，也算是常规赛的一个收官之战。现在心情怎么样？和大家分享一下。
How do you feel right now?
就是最后2场打的还是
I
非常
feel
艰难。
happy. In the last 2 games, it was pretty hard.
我们其实接下来的比赛嘛，也是
Still
到了
happy,
季后赛的赛程了，
nonetheless.
在下一场比赛，想问一下
Looking
小狗，
forward,
季
you
后赛
guys
的目
are
标
heading
定
into
在
the
哪里？
playoffs. What are your
目标
goals
当然
regarding
是希望
playoffs?
能够进到决赛，对。
进到
Our
决
goal
赛，
is
相
definitely
信
for
这也应该都
finals.
是我们 RNG 每一个粉丝的一个所期望的事情了。那其实接下来就会问到一些关于比赛的内容嘛。刚刚其实，在第1局的时候，有一波让我印象非常
Regarding
深
the
刻，
game in the
就是
first
在
game,
24分钟的时候，然后你的
around
霞是有被对面的
24
左一
minutes,
睡
your
到，但是
Xayah
当时你留了
was
自己
hit
的
by
大招，
sleepy
也留了
trouble
闪现，没有第
bubble.
一时间招出来，然后小明也是挡技能挡得非常及时。
From
想问一下那一
Yagao
波当
Zoe,
时
you
是怎么
held
样的一个
onto
情况？
both
没有
your
交
flash
出
and
宝技能。
ultimate and didn't try to shy away from the damage incoming. What was this scenario? I actually just didn't pay enough attention to the skill shots coming over. I was just hit by it.
好，那可以看出2位的一个默契度也算是非常拉满的。那其实，在第1局是有拿出霞这种比较偏主动性的一个 AD 嘛。
you
第2
guys
局是选到了一个艾希加塔姆的
Xayah,
组
and
合，
in
想问
game
一下
2 it
这
was
是为什
Ashe
么？
plus Tom Kench. Why did you make the switch over?
塔姆的时候，这种没有位移
When
的
we picked
ADC 就比
Tom
较容易活命嘛，
Kench,
然后
we knew that we would have more survivability
算是配合
with
说
in
队伍
mobile
的一个
AD carries,
整体的
and
一个
Ashe
阵
is
容
also
吗？
very good in team
也
fights.
算是吧，差不多。
好的，那接下
And
来
it was
想问
for
一下，
the
其实前
overall
段时
team
间哈皮社
composition.
区有过一个投票，谁是本赛季的终极 K 头怪？然后你的粉丝其实有给你
we
疯
had
狂的去
a
点赞
vote
投票嘛，最
on
终也是拿下了这个
Happy
终极 K
app,
头怪的这样一个奖项。
to
想问一
ask
下
who
小狗的一个
was
获奖感
the
言。
player to steal the most kills, and you were voted as the king in that category.
对，就谢谢大家。
And what do you have to say to your fans on that
每
one?
个点赞每个票也都是粉丝们
Just
对
want
你
to
的爱。
say thank you for the
今
fan
天的一
support.
个最后一局的一个击杀数嘛也是非常不错的。那想问一下，在这
In
里
the
呢，
last
就是
game,
队伍
you
间
found
有
a
没
lot
有
of
说就
kills.
是关于 K 头这方面的
Did
这
your
个科比有
team
没有就是一
ask
些
you
想要
anything
说
about
法
the Kobe's or the kill steals that
有
you've been
的时
doing?
候就是可以让的人头的话，队伍可能都会。 大多数会让给
A
我，
lot of
因为
times when the
我
team
毕竟
can't
是
give
后期
over
所以说
kills,
就有的时候
they do
让
try
人
to
头更多
preserve
的
the
都是会
kills
给
for
到
me
C 位。
because
所以
I'm
说
the
也
late
先
game
保障队
carry,
位的一个发育，去
and
打
they
出后
do
面
try
更好的一
to
个伤害。
preserve the
那派
the
界搞事一
development
起
of
哈
the
皮，
carries on this
感谢
team.
哈尔滨啤酒为 UZI 评出趣味奖项。那接下来到了潮玩社区的水友提问，也是最后一。
Most likely to steal kills.
It's not stealing kills. You heard him right there. The team offers the kills to him because he has to carry them later on.
Yeah, it's like I have to be the one to carry as such. But of course, you know, with all that said, Uzi, he's obviously said his goal was to make finals, ready to kind of set himself up. And I like that. I like the way kind of like it's not his goal is just to get to the finals, because I think if he knows if he gets that, then they're guaranteed gauntlet. He can then figure out everything else from there, because right now RNG, I think he also realizes they're not home free just yet.
Yeah, I definitely think that Uzi understood his predicament inside the playoff bracket there. So a bit of a terse interview coming out from him. Not much said. Very few words.
Very reserved, very reserved. But with today's games done, we're going to have a look at the standings and how we go into the final day of the regular split. And of course, with RNG winning, they only won 2-1, which means they are only going to be getting third. You can see there the top two guaranteed is going to be Fun plus Phoenix as your #1 from the regular split versus top. Royal Never Gave Up and Billy Gaming at third and fourth. And of course, we are still waiting to confirm our last playoff spot. That will be confirmed tomorrow with LNG versus Suning.
Yep, and there's only two possible scenarios here. Either it's the standings that you see currently, or LNG will actually leapfrog Suning with a win and pretty much put Team WE behind them. LNG also have the head-to-head victory there. So in basically all scenarios, if LNG win, they will just kick WE out of the playoff contention.
Yeah, and we have a quick look here. As we see now, we got the locks in for everybody. RNG locked in, TES locked in, BLG and FBX, of course, locked in as well as EDG. Team WE tentatively in 8th place. They're going to be praying to the Suning gods. Praise the sun and all that stuff, because they need to get the win there to make sure they go into a playoff berth. They made the run last time. This one's slightly out of their hands. They just kind of have to hope and pray.
Yeah, and this one is a very interesting side to both the matchups right there. I think bot side is much more about individual prowess. On top side, you have a lot of more of the team systems. But of course, last game day here, LGD versus Vici. And not going to affect anything. Most important ones are LNG versus Suning. This one is the big clincher right here, because it will decide who has to play Invictus Gaming in the first round. That's really...
it decides who goes through the playoffs, if LNG are out or if WE are in, if Suning goes against IG or if they go against EDG, because they also could potentially drop down to 8th. And of course, we have got our match of the week. Fun plus Phoenix, the #1 team confirmed in LPL regular split against the #2 team confirmed top esports. The reason why, ladies and gentlemen, they are confirmed in their positions is, despite if top esports take a 2-0 victory, they shall not be able to equal or get ahead of FBX on scores. And do you know what I love about tomorrow? We've literally got a ladder of games. It's the bottom, into the middle, into the top. And that's what I like to see. You get literally a sample of all three.
Yeah, you get to see the different level of play inside the LPL. I think that's the most important one of that. The second series, really a lot of onus onto LNG. But for Suning, I think they'd actually be conflicted. Do you want to face EDG or IG in the playoffs?
Neither is good.
Neither is good, but
you know,
I almost would want to take EDG.
maybe we'll have to see. Sandbagging confirmed. But ladies and gentlemen,
it's out of their hands. Completely out of their hands. They don't have a choice in that.
True, maybe. Anyway, we'll see how that matchup goes tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen. That is all we have time for tonight. Thank you again, of course, to our fantastic production team, our graphics, our director, our producer, everyone behind the scenes that makes this entire broadcast possible. Thank you, Clement, for guiding us all through it and talking about your star signs. It was really fun. And thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us. And, I think that's all we have time for. We'll hopefully see you guys again very soon. And we'll hopefully see you guys tomorrow.